We are honored to have Dr. Nicholas Perricone, a board-certified dermatologist, healthy aging expert, and no stranger to the world of PBS. 8 specials that you've done in public broadcasting. How and when did you get into the aging process?
I started looking at the aging process probably in medical school. I was looking under the microscope, which we had to do an awful lot of, at actually a tumor, squamous cell cancer, and it was surrounded by inflammation. And I talked to my professor. I said, is it possible that the inflammation is driving this process? And he said, no, it's just an effect of the immune system. I thought that was a strange answer because cancer has a way of bypassing the immune system. That's why we get into trouble. And I saw inflammation in arteries if there was atherosclerosis, and I saw it in brain tissue if there was Alzheimer's, and started putting together these clues that I thought that inflammation was driving a lot of these disease processes, especially aging, because when I did dermatology, we had to look at a lot of specimens under the skin. And aging skin had absolute evidence of inflammation, but younger skin had no inflammation. And we're talking about aging skin without pathology there. Why was there inflammation? And I'm also a nutritionist.
Yes.
And so I thought about, well, I'm convinced inflammation is what's driving these processes, but what is causing the inflammation? Well, in the skin, it's pretty easy. We're interface between us and our environment, and so sunlight and a lot of other things and pollution. But what about this inflammation we can measure internally with things like C-reactive protein?
C-reactive protein.
C-reactive protein. Now it's a lab test, and it actually measures through measures of certain proteins that how much inflammation is actually going on in your body. See, the problem with inflammation, it is not visible. We can't feel it. We can't see it, but it goes on all the time. And the more inflammation, then the more rapid is the destruction of major organ systems, and of course, including skin. And so the idea was, well, what's driving this? And I started looking at it and very closely, and being a nutritionist, figured out that foods can either be pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory, depending on what category we choose. And started looking and started designing a diet that was just rich in a lot of fruits and vegetables, phytochemicals. Phytochemicals. That's spelled P-H-Y-T-O, phyto. And phytochemicals are amazing things because they contain antioxidants, but they also trigger our body's own defenses to reduce free radical damage and inflammation at the same time.
Let's name some of the... People are very... they want to know exactly what we're talking about. So if they're writing down right now, they're going to Google it. What are we talking about here?
If there are a lot of colors in your fruits and vegetables, there's a lot of phytochemicals. And so you want to have a whole array, a rainbow of colors every day, because by selecting different ones, they have different protection. For example,
is that what we're talking about?
If we look there, yes, okay. So of course I recommend salmon because it's a great source of protein. We need to have protein every day to repair our cells. And actually there was a nutritionist that said on the days we don't eat enough protein are the days we age.
Is that right?
It is true. We need that to repair. Then you'll see melons, and you'll see some green vegetables here. That's very important.
But doctor, I see, is that chocolate? That's not chocolate.
That's chocolate, right.
Wait a minute. Everything in moderation. Well, what are we talking about here?
We're talking about high cocoa level chocolate. So 70% cocoa.
Go ahead.
And so there's very little sugar there. There's a little bit of neutral fats, which are not pro-inflammatory. And chocolate contains some very powerful phytochemicals that reduce inflammation and also give you energy. If you want to get up and really get moving, whatever I do before I actually do an interview is I have a square of 70% chocolate. And it's much better.
Is that right?
Much better than a cup of coffee or tea.
See, the coffee thing, all right? Now, okay. So they asked me. I go, black coffee, just black. You were talking to a lot of our folks. The word around here in the public television studio, WNET, is you were talking about green tea.
Right.
What's wrong with this?
Well, coffee is it's a good liquid. It does contain...
These are long days, doctor.
Right. It does contain, caffeine's an antioxidant.
Yes.
And it also contains some phytochemicals. That's why it has color to it.
All right.
However, it contains organic acids. And these organic acids make our blood sugar kind of go like this. And when blood sugar's up, insulin goes up, and that puts a lock on your body fat. So I tell people that if they switch out from coffee to tea, doing nothing else differently, they will lose about 10 pounds in about 4 to 6 weeks. Now, I've been challenged on this with CNN, and it was funny. I did my interview, and the woman was slightly overweight, and she said, I'm going to try this, but if it doesn't work, I'm taking you back. I want you back in Atlanta to face the music. And she called me about 12 days into it, and she said, I've already lost 5 pounds. My apologies.
From coffee to tea?
Coffee to tea.
Because?
Once again, coffee contains organic acids that will kick up your blood sugar when you have, and it kicks up insulin, right? When blood sugar goes up, insulin is secreted. Insulin puts a lock on your body fat.
So it's not allowing, so you're exercising. You and I were talking right before we got on the air about exercise routines, and you just totally blew away something I already was thinking about, importance of cardio. Never mind, we'll go there another time.
It is important, but moderation.
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 I'm going to ask you this. Can you talk to us about what you brought in, because this is really important.
Okay, sure. So this is the company, Perricone.
Perricone, go ahead.
And I started the company right after 9/11 because I was concerned about our national security. And so the first thing I worked on was a way to protect commercial airlines from shoulder-held rockets, which is a huge threat, and it still is. And I developed a program for them, and then Homeland Security, once I was working on it for a few years, mandated that Congress come up with the money to protect all commercial airlines. The problem was that the bids that were really looked at were some of the larger companies, and they said it was anywhere from $1 to $5 million per airplane, so it made it cost prohibitive. Now, mine was about 1/10 of that, and I thought it worked better. But what happened is I received a letter from the government with my patents were issued that they were making my technology secret for national security reasons. And we have not seen hide nor hair of that invention since then. It's sitting somewhere in the governmental bureaucracy. And of course, we can't use the technology, which I think is critical. And so we're trying to move that forward with some help from our senators.
Laser defensive?
Yes, this is one of the inventions.
Eyewear.
Okay, so I was at a security meeting with Perricone, and I was approached by someone. They said, I have a problem, we have a problem. And the problem is, this was 3 years ago, that we are getting a lot of attacks on commercial airlines landing. People are shining lasers into the eyes of the pilots as they're landing.
Right.
Can you come up with a solution? So I thought it over, and I thought I had a solution. So I talked to my chief technology officer, who is an optical physicist. I said, this is my idea. This is what I'd like to do. Will it work? She said, yes, I think it will work. It's going to take a lot of engineering and a lot of money. So we did a full court press for 2 years. We developed the glasses, and now we have them. And I wanted to make the glasses that were light, usable, because pilots have to wear them, right? And they also have to block all forms of lasers, not just the green lasers, but green, red, and blue, because that's what's out there.
Right.
In addition to that hurdle, we had to say that we're going to block red, blue, and green, but we're going to be able to see color discrimination. And so that was the engineering part, the real big engineering part. And we have to also give protection at all angles. So when I put these on, and if a laser is coming from the side, all of this is completely protected.
Right.
But I can still see colors. I can see your tie. I can look out and see a number of colors. I can read all the instruments in an airplane. I can read the iPad they use for navigation. And so we're ready to go. But once again, full court press, we're producing now, but nobody's stepping up to get the protection.
Can you wear these day or night, Doctor?
These are the day version. They're
right.
tinted. And then the night version are actually almost clear. As you can see
right.
that. You want to put those on?
Sure. This is night. This is the...
That's the night.
The night.
So you get all the you get all the light through. You can see color discrimination, but you are protected. Now you'll see the laser, but it's not going to dazzle you. You'll still be able to do all the functions you need to do. You can see the source. You can report it to the police, but your eyes are protected. And if you get hit with a laser, you really we call it dazzle, and you really have trouble seeing for several minutes. If it's a high-powered laser, and many are, there's actual retinal damage, permanent damage to the pilots.
But right now it's not. They don't have access to it.
Well, it's here, it's waiting, but no one's stepping up.
In the government, I can't imagine. They haven't moved quickly?
No, I've gone to all the air security meetings. We're talking to everybody, and I guess that answers your question. Right?
Dr. Nicholas Perricone, no stranger, as I said, to the world of public broadcasting. You've done many, many specials and taught many people, inspired many people to be involved in the aging process in a more productive and meaningful way. Board-certified dermatologist, nutritionist, and an expert on healthy aging. I want to thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Stay
Pleasure.
right there.
Pleasure.
We'll be right back right after this from the Tisch WNET studio here in the heart of New York City. Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, Delta Dental of New Jersey, the Northward Center, Josh S. Weston, the Russell Berry Foundation, Investors Bank, and by NJM. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.